Okay, hi, this is Jim Wallace again, and we're going to do segment 2, if you can call it that, of Tom Russell's discussion about his experience with DCI, Drum Corps International, this past summer. So let's start with the performances now. Can you talk to me about maybe one particular performance? You did how many again?
It was 86 days, and we did 34 shows.
34 shows. Does one of them stand out in your mind?
Absolutely. This was probably about 3/4 of the way through our touring season together. We were in Nashville, Tennessee, and we were in the Vanderbilt home stadium, which is a gigantic Division I college football stadium. It was a really special show for us because there were 8 groups there, and they were the 8 groups that finished in the top 8 last year. So it was a tour of champions show, so to speak. And we actually got to go on last that night. So all the people who went and watched people in the parking lots warm up, they were all in their seats, ready for us to go on. And so when we went on the field, there were probably 12,000 or more people in the stands just waiting for us to perform our hearts out.
Right.
And that is absolutely what we did, because that show is incredible. Because I could feel the energy from all the people like watching us. I could feel the energy from the drum corps performing. And we had the crowd standing up before we were even done with our show. They were just flying out of their seats, so happy to see us.
So does that motivate the Corps as well? I mean, you perform well even if there wasn't a crowd, but
Yes.
with a crowd you even have more adrenaline.
Oh yeah, I distinctly remember coming off the field and our section leader of the drumline, all he said to us is, "That's why we do it. That's why we do it, to inspire the 12,000 people who come to watch us."
Well, and they inspired you too.
Absolutely.
You bet. Well, I saw you perform in Sacramento
Yes, you did.
at a community college stadium, which was pretty well attended.
Yeah, it was.
But talk to me about some of the other venues that you performed in.
Well, we started our tour in California, where you came and saw us, and from in there we performed at some large high schools, some community colleges, and then we had 2 really big performances. One at the Stanford University football stadium, which was an incredible experience, and then the other one, however rare for a Purdue student, was in the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
That was a fantastic venue, I think, for our performance, because I don't know, something about that stadium projected the audience noise onto the field.
Yeah.
So much more than even Stanford or even Vanderbilt Stadium.
Yeah, I had that experience once. It's an awesome place to perform, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And it's a beautiful stadium, and everything around it is cool.
Yeah.
And then from California, you started heading east?
Yep, from California we headed south, east, north, and then south again. So we went down through Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Missouri, up until our home show in Madison, Wisconsin. Those were the Madison, Wisconsin Scouts.
Of course.
Then we traveled down south to San Antonio. There's a really big show there in the Alamo Dome inside, which was special. Then we went east through Nashville down to Georgia, and the Atlanta football stadium there is another covered facility, which is amazing. And then from there, to finish out the season, we head up north to Allentown, Pennsylvania, and then go back to here in Indianapolis to finish our lot.
Now, these shows that you do, there's not the same groups that perform at every show. Is that correct?
That's correct, because all of the groups are traveling around the country, but we do not travel together necessarily.
Right.
There are several shows around the country that groups can choose to go to, whether they want to stay in a specific spot or not.
Did you have much time to watch the other groups?
Yes and no. At the larger shows, like the one in San Antonio, I took the time and I watched, I think, the last 6 or 7 groups go on. Because you don't get to watch the people who perform before you, because we're still warming up and getting ready for our own
Sure.
show. But certainly there were 6 or 7 groups that we could watch pretty consistently throughout the year.
Now, when I'm at a DCI performance, I'm always amazed at these judges that are running all around the field. And I'm thinking, I mean, half the time it looks like they're getting in your way.
True.
Either that or they know your drill beforehand so that they know where you're going. But especially when they're following a snare line around, and there's how many, 7 or?
Around 8 or 9.
8 or 9 snares, and they're like right in front of you, and you guys move in unison.
Yes.
It's not like one person goes one way and the other goes another. Talk to me about these judges. Are they a distraction to you?
Yes, honestly, they are. But you get used to it by the end of the season. I distinctly remember in 2014, my first season marching DCI, I was very much distracted by the green-shirted judge who was like 4 feet from me. Because I know what he's doing. He's watching me play. He's looking for me to mess up. He's looking for things I do to to call me out on or to compliment me. And so that is a mental thing that you need to see beyond the judge, even when he's literally right in front of you.
It's kind of like that photographer Purdue band fan following around at rehearsal, right?
Exactly it is, yes.
So I went to the DCI Finals, and there were 12 core groups,
Yep.
and they finished in the exact same order that they had the 2 days or 2 nights beforehand. The scoring hadn't changed, it had gone up a little bit, but the exact order from first to 12th was the same.
No, it wasn't.
That seems to me, I mean, how can you perform, like you said, he's looking for you to mess up or do it right. Well, what would a mess up look like?
Well, it's at the level we perform at, it's a very small detail. Because I'll give the snare line example, for example. There's 9 of us. Of course, we hit the drum at exactly the same time. If one person even is a little bit late, a trained ear like the judge can hear that. And so he's judging us on our ability to play our show exactly together. And they call them tips, is when you hear a mess up. So he's looking for that, and he's looking how well the drum corps plays together. Because acoustically, it's very hard to play if I'm like on the 30-yard line and someone else is on the 20-yard line over there.
Sure.
To play together, it's actually really hard. And so he's listening for how well we do that and adjust to the scenario around us.
Is somebody also judging like the composition, the music score, and so on?
Yeah, there's at least in the percussion caption, there's actually 2 judges. One that is on the field, and he runs around with us and looks for all the mistakes we're making. And in terms of that, he also looks at what we're playing. So often at the world-class level where we got, a lot of the judges' tapes that we get to listen to are more compliments than calling out tapes. He shows his appreciation for what we're playing because it often is very, very hard. There's also a judge in the stands kind of way high up listening to more of the broad picture, like how well does this music fit what you're doing, how well is the whole drum corps playing it together.
I see those judges walking around in the field talking into their little microphone. Do you actually get to hear those?
Yes, they make tapes that we send to the staff of the drum corps. So this summer the members didn't get to listen to the tapes, the staff kept it to themselves. But in the past 2 years with the Spartan experience, we got to hear the tapes probably once or twice a year. And it's the judges making educated feedback on the content and the quality of our show.
The staff you mentioned, so how large would the staff be? First of all, how many were in Madison Scouts as
There are
performers?
150 performing members.
Say again?
150.
150.
Yeah.
And how many staff members, paid or otherwise, that work with you?
Around 50.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge number of people that come and go throughout the season. So at any given time, there's probably about 25 staff members with us, but they rotate throughout the season because most of them are actually band directors back at their local high schools and they have other responsibilities. But yeah, it's a huge number of people that are literally just there to make us the best we can be.
And you do have one person's probably in charge of all of it.
Yeah, we have a core director and then multiple people in charge of different aspects. Like the director was in charge of our daily life, and then we had the music guy who was in charge of all the music we did, and the visual guy who was in charge of where we marched and how well we did it. So yeah.
And you have, what do you call it, a pit?
Mm-hmm. A front ensemble musician percussion section.
And how big is that section?
That section is probably around 15 people, plus or minus around 5. I wasn't familiar with the numbers there.
And that seems to vary a little bit from one group to the other, I noticed.
It's just a design choice that the staff makes, whether they want more in the front or... Because the thing is that a drum corps is capped to 150 people.
Correct.
You can't have more even if you want it. So they can make decisions whether we want a smaller pit so we get more people on the field or vice versa.
I thought I saw more trombones this year than I have seen in prior years.
Definitely. That's actually a new installment to DCI. And 2 years ago, they allowed the other brass instruments other than the trumpet, tuba, mellophone, and baritone. So you allowed all the other brass instruments. So now we have French horns on the field, we have trombones on the field, we have several other unique brass instruments that the corps often choose to have solos on or something like that.
And when we say French horns, are we talking about mellophones?
I'm talking about French horns.
French horns, okay. Wow. Yeah, wow.
It's a unique thing.
Yes, it would be.
One group made a really big feature of it last year. They were right on the 50-yard line, 15 of them playing as loud as they could. And it's an awesome sound.
I've always liked the mellophone sort of counter melody that they have. It's awesome. Okay, just to finishing up kind of, what would you tell somebody that was watching this who might be a student thinking about doing DCI? Why should they do it? Maybe why should they not?
Well, my response to that is don't tell yourself you can't do it until you've actually tried to do it. Like I said in the previous video, there were probably around 70 people who tried out for snare drum, but there were countless more who could have made it, who said to themselves that maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I don't have the time. Like, let the Madison Scouts tell you you're not going to be a member of the Madison Scouts. Don't tell yourself you can't do it. But as soon as you do tell yourself you can do it, you need to be prepared for the reality of what it takes to perform at literally the highest level possible. Like, your standard for how well you do things is going to be raised by more than you think it will be. And it's an
I had a parent tell me that whose daughter was a member of our snare line, that she didn't do anything social with her friends all summer because she practiced all summer so she could make the snare line in the All-American Marching Band. That's sort of what you're talking about.
It is. It's a similar thing like that. You need to set your eyes on your goal, and you need to work incredibly hard for it. The past 2 years, even at Purdue, I had homework, but every single day after dinner, I would come here in Elliott and drum for at least an hour and try to get as good as I can be.
So, last question is, has this experience changed you in any way, and how?
Absolutely. I mean, this summer was an incredible experience for me. I will never forget any of it. But I think the biggest takeaway I'm going to have is simply a raising of standards. What I thought was good before I marched this summer, I now realize I could do better. And so literally everything in my life I look at with a sort of a critical eye of like, am I being the best possible version of myself? Because I know, like in Nashville, Tennessee, we literally played something perfect. There were no mistakes. I look back on that and I think there's literally nothing I could do better. And now applying that to the rest of my life is hard, but it's very rewarding.
So can you take that level of excellence and leverage it onto the snare line here in the All-American Marching Band?
I already do.
You're trying at least, right?
Absolutely,
You
yes.
bet. Well, good for you. Well, thanks for taking the time and coming in and chat with us, and you have a nice day. I'll see you at the drill field.
All right.